Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.
My dear brothers and sisters, at the beginning of this homily, I would like to invite you to, just for a moment, think about your reaction that God is seeking a daily contact with you. What is your reaction in your daily duties in this rush during the week? What is your reaction that He really wants to meet you there? God, in whom we profess our faith, we will do this after this homily. God desires to meet and be close to each of us every day. It is His desire to speak to each of us every day, to speak to us, "Behold, I am standing in front of you at the door of your heart and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will enter this house and dine with him, and he with me in this place here." And in today's gospel, we see how God engages in a conversation with a man, a dialogue that changes life. The woman in the gospel desires an encounter with another human being because she feels so lonely. She desires the acceptance she cannot find from people. She desires understanding because she experiences only judgment from others. She desires to be listened to. She desires love, which, despite the various relationships she had during her life, is still incomplete. We can say these are also our desires during our life that we want to satisfy. God always comes first to meet man, to listen and to fulfill our desires, just as He came to us at some point in our lives, at the baptism or during our life, just as He came to catechumens and candidates. Jesus came to the well and waited there for the Samaritan woman. We see, God is always the first who is waiting for a man. Is always the first to talk with him. Jesus was the first to ask her, "Give me a drink, I am thirsty." Today, He says the same. He's making the same request to us. Saying my name, saying your name, He says, "Give me a drink, I thirst." But Jesus doesn't want water or juice. Jesus doesn't want old-fashioned. Jesus thirsts for our hearts. Maybe you remember His words from the cross, "I thirst." Thirsts for our hearts. He thirsts for our love today. Jesus thirsts for our hands to do good for others. Jesus thirsts for our words to proclaim the truth and the good news every day. Jesus first us. Will you give me your heart today? Will you give me your hand today? I need it. Will you give me your tongue? I need it. Will you do that He will not first? In a spiritual life, the first step belongs to God. We shouldn't rush anything here. We shouldn't force God to start talking to us, as the Jews did in the desert, like we heard in the first reading. We are thirsty. Let's see if God is with us, if He is working in our lives, if He is real, or is just a tale. Let's check if He works. If He doesn't work, why we should waste our time. This gospel is an example that God wants to talk with us in the course of our daily duties and affairs. God shouldn't be only in our lives just during a big feasts. God shouldn't be only there when bad things happen. God is thirsty to be with you every day, in everything you do. Not during a great feast, not in a special place, not in a sublime atmosphere. The Samaritan woman was doing one of her usual daily activities. She went to get some water to drink. Sometimes it may be that we try in our lives to limit God's place, the time for Him, the circumstances of meeting with Him. I can say, God, I will give you only 1 hour during this week for a Holy Mass. I haven't got a time, I am busy man. I will give you 2-3 times for the confession during year. I will give you only short prayer, I am in rush, sorry. In these moments, you can meet me, God, only in these moments. The rest is my time. The rest is my life. And His desire is to meet us every day. He misses us every day. It is good to ask ourselves, brothers and sisters, this question: do I really believe that God has a lot to tell me in my daily activities? Do I really believe that He wants? Do I really believe? And does it have value to me? It is good to discover this during adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. Do I hear His voice in my conscience every day, and do I take up this conversation with Him? If not, we will be thirsty. God knows our whole life, our thoughts, our words, our deeds, those great, good, holy, and those that we would prefer to forget, we are ashamed of. God sees it all and knows it all, and He requires only one thing from us: to recognize, to allow, to acknowledge the truth about myself, so that I don't try to deny. that I don't try to excuse or justify myself. Go, call your husband and come back, says Jesus. I don't have a husband, the woman replies. She could lie. She could start playing, pretending. But finally, this woman recognizes the truth about herself, about her life, even though this truth is embarrassing, hurts. This woman discovers the truth about herself, about her life, and by discovering of the truth, man builds a bridge of trust between himself and God. This trust in God that we so often lose in our daily lives. We say, I can't trust God. I didn't trust Him. I trusted myself more. By standing in the truth and trusting in God, God can reveal a lot about us. And look, under the influence of trusting conversation with Him, there is in a man a profound change taking place in a matter of minutes. The Samaritan woman discovers what she really missed in her life. She was thirsty for Christ. She missed Christ. Everything else goes to the background. The well, going for water, daily chores, public opinion, past life, which she was so ashamed of, it all ceases no matter. The most important thing is that she finally met her God. And this meeting fills her with happiness. She wants to share with others what she has experienced. I can happily say that several such stories have also happened here in this church, in this cathedral. This church, at this Holy Mass, also at your home, at your work, God wants to be with you. Everywhere, He's present and He's waiting for conversation with you.
Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.